Friendships are weird. There's no agreed upon rules, but somehow we expect them to just work anyway. Now, throwing the curveball of one of you moving 1,000 kilometers away, and then it really becomes difficult. I moved abroad about 3 years ago. Let me show you what I have learned about maintaining long distance friendships over that time. When I lived in Hungary, I had a group of friends, a handful of people, and I was worried that I might lose some of them if I move abroad. And what I have learned is that, yes, some of them we don't really talk anymore, but the others have really kept on going. And there are a few things that have been working really well, and some techniques that have helped me to maintain that sense of connection and that sense of touch. But I have also learned that not all friendships are created equal. And I think that we are using the term friendship too broadly, and we should work on our vocabulary to name the relationship what it really is. So I have 4 categories of what generally come into the group of friendships, and I think we should start using those words. There's one group that I would call buddies. Those are people that are usually near you, and they are easily accessible, and people that you spend time with and you like spending time with them, but it's on the surface, it's not too deep. You know, some of your colleagues might be your buddies, and there are some people that you like watching the game with. Those are your buddies. And it's great to have buddies, but I don't think that buddies should be in the same category as some other friends. And I think that it's important to have the understanding of what the expectation is with your buddies. So if some of them wouldn't be there, that wouldn't be the end of the world. And that kind of describes what that relationship is about. Another group of people that we often call friends are acquaintances. And I think that's a word that we have stopped using. We tend to call everybody our friend. And to me, acquaintances are people that you would say hi to. My neighbor down the street is my acquaintance. I know their name. We're saying hi. We are being civil. I'm behaving like a gentleman with them. And we should have a lot of acquaintances. We should have a social network of people, and that is great. But acquaintance is not the same as a friendship. And also, when it comes to friendships, there's 2 other types of friendships that I would still consider a real friendship. And one of those is the passive friendship. I think if you have a lot of things in common with someone and you are connecting together and you have the ability to talk about important things, that's what to me classifies as a friendship. Now, life comes in the way, and we don't have all the time in the world for all of the people that we share a connection with. I know that if we were to meet up, then we would, like that, get back into the friendship. And we would be right where we started from. We would be back in that mind space. And I think that's what a passive friendship is. And it's great to have those. And I think those passive friendships are real friendships. Now, the last category, and I think this is the category that you should spend a lot of effort maintaining, is what I call the concealing friend. To me, a real test of who a real friend is who you would call if you were in trouble. If you're going through a difficult part of your life, you have to make a difficult decision, who do you call? And I think those are the people that I would call concealing friends. Those are the people that you have a really deep connection with. You can really connect on a lot of things in life. You can discuss difficult things together, and you care about the other person. To me, that's a real friendship. And these are the ones that you should really spend effort in maintaining. If you had a group of friends in one country and then you moved away from that friends group, like you physically moved to another place, then they will still have their group of friends. You were the only one that moved out of the friends group. So for them, your vacancy is not that obvious. Therefore, I think it's the person that moves away from the group that has to make more effort in maintaining that relationship. Not to say that the person that moved away has to make all of the effort, but a little more effort. And to me, there's 3 things that are working really well when we are talking about maintaining a long-distance friendship. And the first one is to master the art of the phone call. In this day and age, we have the ability to instant message everybody. And especially with me, and I think that's true for a lot of guys, our messaging is really brief. It's like, you up for a beer? Yes, when? Tonight here? Fine. and then we meet, and that's how the friendship happens. But you cannot do that anymore because you're not physically there, but you still have the habit of being really brief in your communication. So I think what we have to do, and what has worked for me, is to periodically call people on the phone, like actually have a voice conversation for half an hour, maybe an hour, but to keep up the habit of being there for them, catching up with them, showing that you care, sharing what's happening with you, and then that habit maintains the friendship really well. At least that's my experience. Now, when it comes to meeting physically, then that's my second tip, is to spend quality time and spend a high amount of time when you can. What do I mean by that? I don't have the option to meet my friends back in Hungary every week or every month. But what I can do is I can spend a weekend with them, right? What we would do is then, instead of meet for a couple of hours a week, we are putting that into a batch, and then we're spending 36 hours together. I did this with one of my friends over the summer. We went out camping and we would just talk and talk and talk, and it was great. And it really helps. Now, the last tip that has helped me to maintain these friendships is to use humor. We have all the funny reels over the internet to laugh at. YouTube, Instagram is full of funny things. I think humor is a really important part in a friendship. And so if I see a reel that I know my buddy Jack will like, because it's so funny and it's our type of funny, right? It's our shared sense of humor that I know he will find funny, and I can send it to them and they are laughing at it, and it's something we share, and I think that's also very important. Anyway, after you do all of those efforts to maintain friendships, you might see that there are people that you thought were friends, but they're really not friends. Sometimes there are people that even after the smallest obstacle comes in the way, they give up on a friendship. And I think that's a good test of were they really your friends, or were they just buddies or acquaintances that acted like they were friends. And I think that's fine. You don't need to be friends with everybody. And sometimes you think more of a relationship than what there is really actually there. And so my experience is you can just let go of those people, and that's fine. The distance, this small obstacle, really tests those relationships. The real friendships become stronger by that, and the weak ones will show their true nature, and that's absolutely fine. And that's a difficult topic, and I know. And what I think is that we don't talk about this enough, and we should. So these were my tips, but I'm also interested to hear what has worked for you. How is it working? What are your tips? Please share those in the comments. And otherwise, I thank you for joining today. I thank you for staying to the end, and I hope you found this interesting, and I will see you in the next video.